Hello everyone and welcome to the Miss of Pandaria talent coverage here on Fuzzmaster Games. In the other videos, we went over the talent trees for each one, but because Monk is a brand new class, I will be going over the talents that they get at each level as they are leveling up, as well as the different specializations that you have available to you at level 10. You get a choice between Brewmaster, which is a sturdy brawler who uses Wickled fortification and unpredictable movement to avoid damage and protect allies. A Mistweaver, which is your healer, and it is a healer who mixes traditional herbal medicine with Pandaren martial arts. And Windwalker, a martial artist without peer who pummels foes with hands and fists. Brewmaster is tank, Mistweaver is healer, Windwalker is DPS. At level 1, you get armor skills, easy. Fighting style, which is the monk's jab ability, will change depending on what weapon is equipped, altering the monk's fighting style appearance. Damage and resource cost remain the same. And that jab ability is melee ranged instant, and you jab at the target, dealing 3.4 plus 1.6 times level damage and generating 1 chi. You get parry as a passive. You get Stance of the Fierce Tiger, which increases damage done by 20%, and it allows use of abilities under jurisdiction of the White Tiger, such as offensive damage abilities. You got a slot for Symbiosis if a druid casts Symbiosis on you, and that is where the ability will go. Tiger Strikes, it is a passive, and you have a 10% chance to gain Tiger Strikes when you auto-attack, increasing your attack speed by 50% and causing your next 4 auto-attacks to cause an extra attack. You also get Way of the Monk, which is passive. The monk attunes himself differently depending on the weapon type. If you are dual-wielding one-handed weapons, your auto-attack damage is increased by 40%. If you are having a two-handed weapon, the melee attack speed is increased by 40% instead of the damage. Weapon skills, passive. Monks get to use polearms and staves, as well as axes, fist weapons, maces, and swords. Level 3, you get Tiger Palm, 1 energy, melee range, instant. Attacks with the palm of your hand, dealing 7 plus 3.2 times your level physical damage. It deals 3.5 plus 1.6 times your level additional damage if the target is above 50% health. Level 5, you get the Roll ability. It has a 0.8 second cooldown, and you roll forward a short distance. Think of it kind of like a blink. Level 7, you get Blackout Kick. 2 energy, melee range, instant, 3-second cooldown, and you kick with a blast of chi energy, causing 11.6 plus 5.4 times your level physical damage to an enemy target. Only usable on targets at or below 35% health. If the target is killed by Blackout Kick, you are refunded 1 chi. I will go into each specialization and give you the specific abilities that they get just for that specific spec after I go through the ones that don't have the little star next to them indicating that they are spec specific. So at level 14, skipping over those, at level 14 you get Provoke, 40-yard range, instant, 8-second cooldown. You mock the target, causing them to rush toward you to attack you and increase 50% movement speed. If targeting your statue of the Black Ox, you provoke all enemies within an 8-yard radius of your statue. At level 22, you get Touch of Death, 4 energy, melee range, 1.5 minute cooldown. You exploit the enemy target's weakest point, instantly killing them. Only usable on non-player targets who have equal or less health than you. That needs what? I'm kind of scared of that ability. I'm really scared of that ability. Level 24, you get Fortifying Brew. It's instant, 3-minute cooldown, and it increases your health by 100%, but you cannot be healed, lasts 20 seconds. At level 28, you get Disable. Melee range, you attempt to disable the target's movement, reducing their movement speed by 25%. Stacks up to 2 times. If you use Disable a 3rd time on a target while they have 2 stacks, all stacks will be consumed and they will be rooted for 8 seconds or 3 seconds in PvP. At level 30, you get Legacy of the Emperor, 40-yard range, and you extol the words of the last Emperor, increasing strength, agility, and intellect by 5%. If target is in your party or raid, all party and raid members will be affected. This is the monk buff. At level 32, you get Spearhand Strike. Melee range, 30-second cooldown, requires Ox Stance or Tiger Stance. You jab the target in the throat, sounds violent, interrupting their spell cast and preventing any spell in that school from being cast for 5 seconds. If the enemy is facing you when cast, they are also silenced out of all schools for 5 seconds. Level 36, you get Detox. Costs 2.6% of base mana, 40-yard range, and an 8-second cooldown. It eliminates ailments from the friendly target, removing all harmful poison and bleed effects. At level 38, you get Resuscitate. 4% of base mana, 40-yard range, 10-second cast, and it returns the spirit to the body, restoring a dead target to life with 35% of maximum health and mana. Cannot be cast when in combat, and cast time reduced by 50% if the target is within melee range. At level 44, you get Expel Harm. 2% of base mana, melee range, instant cast, 15-second cooldown, instantly heal yourself for 979 to 1136, and causes 100% of the amount healed to instantly be dealt to a nearby enemy as damage within 5 yards. At level 46, you get Spinning Crane Kick. 1 energy. You spin while kicking in the air, dealing 5.3 plus 2.5 times per level. Physical damage every 1 second to all nearby enemies within 8 yards. Movement speed is reduced by 30%, lasts 3 seconds. Level 52, you get Paralysis. It costs 3% of base mana, melee range, instant cast, 15-second cooldown. You cause the target's muscles to contract, incapacitating them for 30 seconds. If done from behind the target, the duration is doubled. Only 1 target can be victim to paralysis at any given time. Any damage taken will cancel the effect. So, paralysis is the monk CC. Level 54, you get Crackling Jade Lightning. Crackling Jade Lightning, 3% of base mana, 40-yard range, and it is channeled. And it channels Jade Lightning at the target, causing 1674 nature damage over 6 seconds. If the enemy attacks you within melee range while victim to Crackling Jade Lightning, they are knocked back a short distance. This effect has an 8-second cooldown. This seems very unlimited power, we'll call it. Jesse Cox should have some fun with Crackling Jade Lightning. At level 64, you get Healing Sphere. 1.5% of base mana, 40-yard range, 1.5-second cast, and you form a healing sphere out of healing mists at the target location for 2 minutes. If allies walk through it, they consume the sphere, healing themselves for 52-55. Maximum of 3 healing spheres can be active by the monk at any given time. So you pop these, and if people... It's basically a light well that you don't have to click. You just have to run to it. Fantastic. At level 68, you get Grapple Weapon. 40-yard range, 1-minute cooldown. You fire off a rope spear, grappling the target's weapons and shield, returning them to you. Depending on the quality of the weapon, your damage done, healing done, and damage reduction may be increased. At level 82, you get Meditation. 3-minute cooldown, and it reduces all damage taken by 99% and redirects to you all harmful spells cast against raid targets within 30 yards. Lasts 8 seconds. Being the victim of a melee attack will break your meditation, canceling the effect. Meditation is going to be freaking ridiculous on magic-related bosses where you're damn sure that the monk isn't going to get hit by a melee attack. All that damage reduction and nobody else is getting hit, that's going to be one of the greatest abilities that the World of Warcraft has ever come up with. And at level 87, you get Transcendence. It's on a 3-minute cooldown. You split your body and spirit, leaving your spirit behind. Use Transcendence, transfer to swap locations with your spirit. So you pop Transcendence, you got your spirit that's just kind of standing there, and say you need to get back to where he is real quick, you pop it and you switch places. Depending on how long the spirit stands there is how good that ability will actually be. And that is it for the non-spec specific spells. Under Brewmaster, we get at level 10 Dizzying Haze, 40-yard range. It requires Ox Stance. You hurl a keg of your finest brew, reducing the movement speed of all enemies within 8 yards by 15%. Affected targets have a 3% chance to have their attacks misfire and strike themselves instead for 1,095. Stacks up to 3 times. Stance of the Sturdy Ox reduces damage taken by 20%, reduces the chance to be critically hit by 6%, and increases your chance to stagger damage by 25%. Stagger. What that stagger means is you shrug off attacks, causing 50% of the damage to happen instantly, and the remaining 50% to be divided over 9 seconds. Brewmaster Mastery reduces the after effect stagger damage taken. Level 18 in Brewmaster, you would get Breath of Fire, 2 energy, 40-yard range, instant, and it requires Ox Stance. Breathes fire onto the target, causing 2002 to 2552 damage. Damage is multiplied by the number of Dizzying Haze stacks on the target. At level 26, you get Guard. It's 2 energy, instant, requires Ox Stance. You guard against future attacks, absorbing attack power times 1.971 plus 14,232 damage for 8 seconds. Any heals you apply to yourself while guarding are increased by 30%. At level 34, you get Elusive Brew, 1 energy, instant, 45-second cooldown, requires Ox Stance. You increase your chance to dodge melee and range attacks by 50% for 10 seconds. At level 48, you would get Avert Harm, 15-yard range, 1-minute cooldown, requires Ox Stance. You reduce the damage taken by all nearby friendly targets within 10 yards by 20% and cause half of all remaining damage they take to be redirected to you. Lasts for 15 seconds. Avert Harm is cancelled if you reach 10% or lower health. Level 50, you get Leather Specialization. It increases your stamina by 5% if you are wearing leather only. As Brewmaster. At level 55 as Brewmaster, you get Vengeance, as each time you take damage, you gain 5% of the damage taken as attack power, up to a maximum of 10% of your health. At level 56, Recoil, also passive. Whenever you dodge, you gain 5 energy. At level 70, you get Summon Black Ox Statue, 40-yard range, 1.5 second cast, 3-minute cooldown, requires Ox Stance. Summons a Black Ox statue at the target location, lasts for 15 minutes. Only 1 Black Ox statue can be summoned at any one time. The Black Ox statue interacts with your Provoke and Leer of the Ox abilities. And Guard on click effect, allies can right-click the statue to gain the Guard effect, absorbing 14,232 damage. Any healing done by the monk is increased by 30% while Guard is active. Guard has 10 charges. At level 72, you get Brewmaster Training. It's passive. You become adept in the ways of the Brewmaster, amplifying 2 of your spells. Tiger Palm increases the amount of your next guard by 5%, and it lasts 30 seconds, and it stacks up to 3 times. And Blackout Kick, when you parry, your next Blackout Kick will cost no chi and can be used on targets regardless of their health percentage. At level 75, you would get Purifying Brew, 1 energy, instant, 45-second cooldown, and it requires Ox Stance. It instantly purifies all of your staggered damage. At level 78, you get Leer of the Ox, 100-yard range, instant, 20-second cooldown, requires Ox Stance. Your Ox statue stirs hatred in the target, reducing their movement speed by 50% and causing them to attack your Black Ox statue for 8 seconds. The statue must be within 40 yards of the target. Requires Black Ox statue to be active. And at level 80, you get the Mastery Elusive Brawler. It is passive, and it reduces the damage taken by stagger by 1% and increases the effect of your guard by 1%. And it just repeated itself. I don't know why it repeated itself. And at level 82, you get Shuffle. It is 2 energy, 20-second cooldown, requires Ox Stance. You shuffle around, causing the next 3 melee attacks to be staggered. While shuffling, you cannot move, attack, or cast spells. Lasts for 6 seconds. That is all of the Brewmaster stuff. Going to Mistweaver. At level 10, you get Soothing Mists, 1% of base mana, 40-yard range, channeled, requires Serpent Stance, heals the target for 50-49 to 58-67 over 8 seconds. If your healing done by Soothing Mists is completely effective, you have a 25% chance to generate 1 chi. At level 10, you get Stance of the Wise Serpent, increases healing done by 20% and replaces your energy with your energy bar resource to mana. And it also increases your spell and melee hit rating equal to your spirit gained from items or effects. Any ability which costs energy will now cost mana instead. At level 18, you would get Chi Wave, 2 energy, 40-yard range, instant, 15-second cooldown, and it requires Serpent Stance. You cause a wave of Chi energy to flow through friend and foe, dealing 2737 damage or 2408 healing. Bounces up to 5 times to targets within 15 yards. At level 20, you get a passive called Internal Medicine, and your Detox spell now also clears all magical effects when used. At level 24, you get Jasmine Force Tea. It's channeled, and it requires Serpent Stance, and you regenerate 1 chi every 2 seconds for 6 seconds. At level 34, you get Surging Mist. It's 5% of base mana, 40-yard range, 1.5 second cast, requires Serpent Stance, and heals the lowest health friendly target within 40 yards for 12,658 to 14,710. If cast while channeling Soothing Mists, Surging Mist will be instant cast and heal that target over all others. At level 42, you would get Renewing Mists. 2% of base mana, 40-yard range, instant cast, 8-second cooldown, requires Serpent Stance. You surround the target with Healing Mists, restoring 1561 health every 3 seconds for 15 seconds up to 3 friendly targets within 8 yards. Renewing Mists travels from friendly target to target when it heals up to 3 times. Level 50, you get Leather Specialization. It increases your intellect by 5% while wearing only leather armor. At level 56, you get Cherry Mana Tea. Mana Tea. It's channeled. It requires Serpent Stance. For each chi you consume, you gain a charge of Mana Tea. Use Mana Tea to consume the charges. Each charge restores 5% of your maximum mana. Mana Tea must be channeled, lasting 1 second per stack. Mana Tea can stack up to 50 times. Canceling the channel will not waste stacks. At level 62, you get Uplift, and it instantly refreshes the duration of all your Renewing Mists' periodic effects on allies and heals them for 3280 to 3811. At level 66, you get Thunder Focus Tea. 1 energy, instant, requires Serpent Stance. You receive a jolt of energy, doubling the healing done by your next Surging Mist or Uplift within 10 seconds. At level 70, you get Summon Jade Serpent Statue. It costs 6% of base mana, 40-yard range, 1.5 second cast, requires Serpent Stance, and it summons a Jade Serpent statue at the target location. It lasts for 15 minutes, limit 2 statues. Only 2 statues can be active at a time. And it has Eminence, which is passive, and when the monk deals damage, the summoned Jade Serpent statues will heal the lowest health nearby target within 20 yards, equal to 50% of the damage done. And Serpent Salve, which is the on-click effect, allies can right-click the statue to instantly be healed for 4201, 10 charges. Level 72, you get Teachings of the Monastery, which is passive. You become adept in the ways of the Mistweaver, amplifying 3 of your abilities. Surging Mist, when you Tiger Palm or Expel Harm, the cast time of your next Surging Mist is reduced by 20% and it stacks up to 5 times, lasting 12 seconds. Expel Harm would no longer have a cooldown, and Spinning Crane Kick, when you deal damage with it, while in Stance of the Wise Serpent, you heal nearby allies equal to 100% of the damage done. At level 78, you would get Revival, 7% of base mana, instant cast, 3-minute cooldown, and it requires Serpent Stance. Instantly heals all friendly targets within vision for 5583 and clears them of any harmful magical, poison, and bleed effects. And at level 80, you get Mastery, Gift of the Serpent. It is passive, and you have a 1% chance when you heal to summon a Solace Sphere nearby an injured ally. That's it for the Mistweaver stuff. We go over to Windwalker. Level 10, you get Fists of Fury, 3 energy, melee range, 45-second cooldown, requires Tiger Stance, and you pummel all targets in front of you with rapid hand strikes, stunning them and dealing 1 damage immediately and every 1 second for 4 seconds. At level 18, you get Flying Serpent Kick, 25-second cooldown, and you soar through the air forwards at an increased speed. While traveling, use Flying Serpent Kick again to land yourself, dealing 300 damage to all enemies within 8 yards and slowing them by 70% for 4 seconds. At level 26, you would get Afterlife, which is passive, and when you kill an enemy while gaining experience or honor, you have a 50% chance to summon a Healing Sphere. The Healing Sphere is you form a Healing Sphere out of Healing Mist at the target location for 2 minutes. If allies walk through it, they consume the sphere. Maximum of 3 Healing Spheres can be active by the monk at any one time. Level 34. Energizing Brew, instant, 1-minute cooldown, requires Tiger Stance, regenerates 60 energy over 6 seconds, can only be used while in combat. Sparring, passive. Sparring requires Ox Stance or Tiger Stance, and when you are attacked by a melee enemy in front of you, you begin to spar their attacks, increasing your chance to parry by 5% for 10 seconds. This effect has a 30-second cooldown. When you attack them back, sparring is amplified by an additional 5%, and it stacks up to 3 times. At level 48, you would get Exploding Jade Blossom, 1 energy, 30-yard range, instant, requires Ox Stance or Tiger Stance, and it deals 883 to 1025 physical damage to the first enemy target in front of you within 30 yards, rooting them for 2 seconds. If Exploding Jade Blossom travels further than 10 yards, the damage is increased by 50%. Level 50, you get the Leather Specialization again. In this case, it increases agility while wearing only leather armor. At level 56, you would get Rising Sun Kick, 2 energy, melee range, instant, 8-second cooldown. You kick upwards, attacking the enemy twice for 985 weapon damage, with a 30% chance to perform a 3rd attack. At level 64, you get Tiger Eye Brew. Is 1 energy, instant, 1.5-minute cooldown, requires Tiger Stance, and causes your Tiger Palm, Rising Sun Kick, and Blackout Kick to also hit 2 additional nearby enemies within 5 yards when they deal damage for 20 seconds. Level 66, you get Legacy of the White Tiger, 40-yard range, and you honor the White Tiger's legacy, increasing mastery by 5. If target is in your party or raid, all party and raid members will be affected. At level 70, you get Summon White Tiger Statue. The White Tiger Statue has a 40-yard range. It is a 1.5 second cast. It requires Tiger Stance, and it summons a White Tiger Statue at the target location. Lasts for 15 minutes, limit 1 statue. The passive ability is when you consume 3 chi, your statue will conjure a White Tiger effigy which travels towards the last enemy you attacked, dealing 563 damage. If the effigy travels for 5 seconds, it becomes lusted, moving at a greater speed and dealing 100% increased damage. And the on-click effect is Tiger's Lust, which increases the damage done by the ally and the monk by 15% for 6 seconds. Limit 2 charges per statue. At level 72, you would get Muscle Memory. It's a passive, and your fighting technique improves over time during combat. Anytime you jab a target from behind, your chance to critically hit with jab increases by 1% for 30 seconds. This effect can stack up to 100 times. Leaving combat or an encounter will clear your muscle memory. And at level 80, you get the Mastery, which is Combo Breaker. It is passive, and it grants a 0, which is obviously not the final number, chance for jab to cause your next Tiger Palm to cost no force, or your next Blackout Kick to cost no chi, and be usable on targets regardless of their health percentage. That is all of the leveling abilities that you get. I will link the other video, which goes over the talent tree, somewhere probably down here. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching. We will see you next time.